Hey class, this is Simon, and this week we are talking about comparing airplanes for the company. The first one I have is the Piaggio P180 Evo. It costs almost 7.7 million. It has a range of 1,510 nautical miles. It can hold 7 people and then 8 with the pilot. And for the fuel flow, it has 408 pounds per hour for a long range trip and 792 pounds per hour for a high speed trip. That's the first plane I chose to compare. Looks pretty awesome. Next up is the Pilatus PC-24. This is a sweet jet. It costs 8.9 million. Its range can go up to 2,035 nautical miles. It has 8 seats and 9 with the pilot. And for a long range trip, it burns 711 pounds per hour. And for a high speed trip, it burns 1,790 pounds an hour. So quite a bit more fuel. Up next is the Gulfstream G280. This plane is a lot more expensive. It is $24.5 million, but it can go a lot farther. It goes 3,646 nautical miles, has 9 seats and 11 with the passenger co-pilot. For a long-range trip, it would burn 1,488 pounds an hour, and for a high speed, it would be 1,925 pounds an hour. And lastly, the Challenger 350, which costs almost $7 million, has a range of 3,250 nautical miles. It can hold 10 people, 10 passengers, 12 with the pilot co-pilot, and long range trip burns 1,590 pounds an hour, and for a high speed trip it burns 1,832 pounds an hour. So this is definitely the most expensive jet, but goes far, holds the most, and goes pretty fast. Here's a chart. So you can kind of see down here we have the 4 airplanes that we're comparing. The cost, basically in order, left to right. The Challenger is the most expensive. The Piaggio is the least expensive. The value factors, though, kind of are similar. However, the Gulfstream is a little bit more valuable, which is kind of awesome to see because it's cheaper. And the cabin volume, the Challenger is the biggest, but not by much. The Gulfstream is really close, and the Piaggio is actually bigger than the PC-24. The Gulfstream here is seen to be the fastest plane for that's top speed, and then the Challenger has the biggest payload. So if you're always bringing lots of people and gear, that's a big factor to pay attention to, where the Gulfstream cannot hold as much. Seats we talked about, and here are trips, so it kind of shows you how many hours it would take you to do a 300-mile trip, 600-mile trip, and a 1,000 trip. And the Gulfstream and the Challenger were very similar, but a lot faster than the Pilatus and Piaggio, but those two were similar as well. And lastly, our hours of utilization. You can see here, be 353.3 hours with the P180, 326.7 with the PC-24, and the Gulfstream and the Challenger are the same at 313. So, price is high, but you spend less time, and they're more comfortable. So it's all to think about. Thanks.